Good morning, everyone. Good morning. If you could all take your seats, please. All right, good morning, Truckee. My name is Raven Whittington. I'm a partner at Porter Simon, a member of the Chamber Board, and your host this morning. Fortunately, instead of James Porter, who's wandering in here looking lost. So take your seats, sir. He is. All right. So this morning we're doing a community update, and we have a good number of you of the community here. We're going to hear from the Truckee Trails Foundation. They're going to give us an update on trail building, maintenance, planning, and stewardship activities. Then we're going to hear from the Truckee Donner P.U.D. on their strategic plan update and community circles workshop. And there's some postcards on the table. We're going to hear from the Sierra Business Council and give an update on disaster funding opportunities. And to round everything out, Jessica Penman, the Chamber CEO, is going to give an update on opportunities to get involved with upcoming events. So a packed program this morning. Like to thank our sponsors. The presenting sponsors is Kelly Brothers Painting. The latte sponsors, the Town of Truckee, East River PR, Tahoe Forest Healthcare System, Tahoe Mountain Realty, and Porter Simon. The cappuccino sponsors, Pacific Crest Wealth Planning, Mountain Hardware and Sports. Espresso sponsors, Tahoe Truckee Community Foundation, Got Dogs, JK Architecture Engineering, Wild and Rough, Mount Lincoln Construction, Auerbach Engineering Corporation, Dixon Realty, Truckee Tahoe, and NV5. And the media partners, Truckee Tahoe Media, 101.5 Truckee Tahoe Radio, Sierra Sun, and Moonshine Inc. As always, recognizing the committee, Jessica Penman of the Chamber staff, Ruth Gersey, Melissa Williams, Carolyn Pacheco, and Randy Braun, as well as Kelly Cutler, Naomi Peacock, Ernie Grossman, Gerald Herrick, Tony Lashbrook, Jim Porter, Deb Ryan, Ted Owens, Emily Vitus, Jess Carr. And now that I've introduced everyone that's in the room already, let's go around the room and do some introductions. You want to start here in the front? Red?
I'm Fred Safikpour with Tahoe Pickleball Club.
Thanks, Brian.
Brian Wright, General Manager of the Truckee Donner P.U.D.
Jessica Carr, Sierra Business Council.
Stephen Ponsoy, Truckee Donner P.U.D.
Alex Bialski, Truckee Donner P.U.D.
Leslie Williams, Sierra Small Business Development Center.
Alison Pedley, Truckee Trails Foundation.
Jenny Kendrick, ERPR.
Ann Rick with the Tahoe Truckee Co-op, Community Organizations Active in Disaster.
Good morning, I'm Amber Burke with the Tahoe Truckee Unified School District.
Dr. Barry Treisman, local chiropractor.
Linda Meckel, Transportation Planner and member of the Placer TOT Committee.
Harry? Oh, sorry. I didn't see you back there. No, you keep going.
Okay. Sarah Green, good morning. California Trails and Greenways Conference Foundation.
Eric Goldring Travel.
Chris Tennant, Mount Lincoln Construction and Capwood.
Good morning, Chris Parker, Sugar Bowl Royal Gorge, Truckee Trails Foundation, Donner Summit MAC, Donner Summit Association.
We'll go here. Tony Lashbrook, Truckee River Watershed Council Board member.
George Jatoris, no affiliation at this time.
All right.
Hi, Jennifer Gallagher, JK Architecture Engineering.
James Bartlett, Sierra Senior Services.
Greg Horvath, Kep.Pro, we're a small business accounting firm.
Harry Wise, Tahoe Forest Health System, and Truckee Tahoe Workforce Housing Agency.
Ted Owens, Tahoe Forest Health System, and Chamber Board.
Jim Porter, formerly Porter Simon.
Finally, we can take the name off the side. Yeah.
Ernie Grossman. I haven't got my check.
Yeah, Ernie Grossman, supporter of the new library.
Oh, thank you, Ernie. I want to yield my time to Jim Porter because he's never spoken so little.
That's right.
Kathleen Egan committed to bringing a new library to Truckee. President of the Truckee Library Board.
Deb Ryan, Tahoe Truckee Community Foundation.
Kimberly Brown, hello everyone, North Tahoe Community Alliance, and I'm the Director of Business and Community Relations.
Jake Hudson, NV5, and Truckee River Watershed Council.
David Gregory, pastor at Crossroads Truckee Church.
Gerald Herrick, Truckee Fire Board.
And a good neighbor.
Pam Hogday, Pamela Hurt Associates, and the River Revitalization Committee.
Jan Zabriskie, Truckee Town Council, Nevada Transportation Commission, and Nevada County Local Agency Formation Commission.
Good morning, everybody. Jen Calloway, Town Manager here in Truckee.
Thank you. Did we miss anybody? I do not believe so. If not, without further ado, I'm going to introduce Alison Pedley of the Truckee Trails Foundation. Alison, come on up.
All right. Good morning again, everybody. Alison Pedley, with Executive Director of the Truckee Trails Foundation. I've been with the organization over 10 years. Started out as part-time with a budget of around $30,000. Now been full-time for quite a while. Our planned budget for this year is over $1 million. Hopefully we can actually get there, get all the projects done that we want to get done without having to shut down due to smoke or whatever. I tell people it's the greatest job in Truckee. It's just an absolute pleasure to plan and design and bring outdoor recreation to our community. So we were founded in 2002, just last year, 20th anniversary. We have an all-volunteer board of about 12 members, a few former board members here, Stephen and Jake, and then our current president, Chris Parker, in the back there. Super dedicated board, really passionate about trails. And they've really helped me come a long way with this organization. We have 3 full-time staff, including myself, 5 seasonal trail crew members who are incredible. They work all day long. They work 10-hour days so they can have a 3-day weekend. At the end of the day, they're just covered in dust and dirt because they're sweating and it's super hot, and it's hilarious to see them, but they still have energy at the end of the day and want to come help out at Bike Valet or whatever. They're the best. And I should say, just like everyone else, trying to hire seasonal staff because it's so difficult to find a place to live. We have one person who lives in Reno, one who lives in Truckee, and everyone else camps at Hobart. The Forest Service has very kindly set them up with campsites at Hobart and then lets them use their showers at the Forest Service station. I mean, you do what you got to do, and it's actually working. They're having a great time, and I can't, again, imagine working a 10-hour day building trail and then camping at night, but they're young and everything. So, and then really excited to announce we are officially a licensed contractor. That's something we've been working on for a long time, and it's actually a rarity of nonprofit trail groups to have a contractor's license. But now that means we can bid on dirt trail projects that the town of Truckee might have, or the counties, or the HOAs, or the ski resorts. We are official, and we don't just have to restrict our building to the Forest Service. So I kind of group what we do into 3 key initiatives: non-motorized dirt trail building and maintenance, community stewardship, and advocacy. So for trail building, over that left-hand column is sort of what we've done in the last 6 years in terms of construction. It adds up to about 25 miles of new trail. The first 5 are trails kind of specifically built for mountain biking. The next 4 trails, Alder Creek 2.0 through Wattle Ranch, are what we call non-motorized multi-use. So great for mountain biking if you want, good for trail running or hiking, but not specifically designed with all the features that a mountain biking trail would have. And then the last 2 are more hiking oriented. That's what I would recommend, for someone who wants just a casual stroll. And if you're wondering why we've done more mountain biking trails in the last 6 years than anything else, it's because prior to the construction of Big Chief, which was, I can't remember, 2018, I think, there were no trails in the Truckee area built specifically for mountain biking with, wooden log rides and berms and the kinds of features that mountain bikers like to see. And so we felt like we needed to kind of get caught up and bring some more mountain bike specific trails to the community while also continuing to provide trails for other users as well. Oh, wait, I forgot the other. So 2023, this is probably really hard to see. For those of you who live in Sierra Meadows or who use trails in Sierra Meadows, you've probably noticed there's been a lot of change up there. And that is because in the wake of the forest clearing and thinning that was done in 2020 and 2019, I think, the Forest Service really wanted some new trails to go in, partly to prevent people from illegally building trails. Sometimes that happens and it goes through a spotted owl habitat or whatever. And so if we build trails intentionally with doing all the natural resource and studies, then, it's just better for the environment. So we worked with the Forest Service to create some really fun opportunities, including some that are on the list on the left. And then this year, we're just kind of finishing that off. Anything with a black line is what we're building this summer, all really designed to create some connections between the neighborhoods, different connections between existing trails, so you can create new options when you're trying to plan out a ride or a hike. And then another one, there's an existing really unsustainable trail down a power line, and we're going to kind of decommission that because it's just very unsustainable, lots of erosion taking place, and create a better trail. One trail that's on here, I should say, this right here, I was super excited about it. Very steep section that was going to go from the overlook at Sawtooth down to the river, and that would ultimately connect with the bike path that Placer County is building and then get users over to the Jackass network, which is also very popular. Just seems like connecting two super popular trail networks is a really good idea. But we took our crew out there a couple of weeks ago, and they're of the strong opinion that it's a really unsafe construction. It's just too steep and too many boulders. So we're trying to rethink how to get, to see if there's another location where we can get down. Okay, Pines to Mines. You've probably heard of this trail because it's been in the works for about 8 years. And I'm proud to say we are actually in the middle of a public comment period under the National Environmental Policy Act, hoping that all goes well. This is a proposed trail connecting Truckee with Nevada City. Only, about 80 miles, but only requires about 22 miles of new construction in the middle. It's really phenomenal territory out there in the middle. I think the goal is to really create this, even though it's not necessarily backcountry, you could easily kind of get, you're not that far away from the highway really as the crow flies, but it feels like it. It's really going to be amazing and offer backpacking opportunities, trail running, and of course mountain biking as well. We've been partnering with both land trusts, the Truckee Donner Land Trust here and the Bear Yuba Land Trust in West County, Bicyclists in Nevada County. Of course, Nevada County funded the NEPA process for us and the United States Forest Service. And I always like to mention, I'm sad that Richard isn't here, but Richard Anderson, it was his idea. He brought together the trails groups on both ends of the county and said, "Hey, why don't we do this?" And it's been a long process, but I'm super excited that we're about to start building. And I really should. It's been so long that I shouldn't be saying we're going to start building because then I'm going to jinx myself. But I really hope we start building next summer. Okay, so we also do a tremendous amount of trail maintenance. There's around 180 miles of non-motorized dirt trails in the Truckee Ranger District. That includes, removing down trees, clogged drains, repairing damaged tread. I think our crew alone so far this summer, they haven't gotten up to the summit yet because there's still some snow, but so far they've removed around 65 trees that have fallen down across the trails because it was such a big winter. That number will easily be well over 100, I think, setting a record for the crew by the end of the season. We also like to host volunteers. We hosted a huge group from Patagonia last month, and also started a partnership with the youth mountain biking team, the TNT mountain bike Tahoe North Truckee mountain bike team. And this is them working on the skills loop, and just really fun to help teach trail stewardship to the kids, so they understand this is kind of requires constant maintenance and upkeep if you want to be able to have trails to ride. All right, so this is a fairly new initiative of ours, community stewardship. During 2020, when it was very apparent that, trail use was just absolutely skyrocketing because nobody could really do anything else. And there were new people out on the trails who really weren't sure, how to follow a map or how, I was getting a record number of phone calls from people who were lost. There was a record amount of trash at the trailhead. So we kind of started working with Visit Truckee Tahoe to come up with some ideas. And they recommended sort of an ambassador stewardship program, and were really kind enough to fund it for that first couple of years. So we've had, for the last 3 summers, ambassadors out roaming both the paved paths, and that's funded by the town of Truckee, and then the dirt trails as well, talking to visitors, spreading positive stewardship messaging, picking up trash when they see it, letting our trail crew know when they see trees down across a trail. The biggest one for me is abandoned campfires, and I'm not kidding you. Last summer up on the PCT, one of our ambassadors found an abandoned campfire. It wasn't hot, but it was clear it had been a really big campfire because the tree branches above it were singed, like 10 feet above. And so it just kind of, thankfully they managed to put it out, whoever set that fire. But it just sort of emphasized how important it is to have eyes and ears on the forest at all time. Our trail crew also looks out for wildfire risk when they're out there, but then it feels really good to me to have our ambassadors out roaming the trails as well. And then we've also started a bike valet, and I'm super excited about this. The town is also funding bike valet. Just kind of had a hunch it was going to be popular, but I had no idea just how much the community was going to love it. We get well over 100 bikes at every Truckee Thursday, and people are so grateful. People love it. It's like literally someone said this is the greatest thing in Truckee, which I don't agree with, but it really is cool and it's fun. I enjoy working with the team out on Bike Valet because it's just great to see the gratitude, and it's great to see more and more people opting to ride their bike rather than, driving their car and taking up parking spaces at popular events. Okay, on to advocacy. So key advocacy aims, I kind of group these into community safety, non-motorized trail connectivity, and recreational opportunities. It's no secret, again, more and more people are using our trails. We talk a lot internally about how to keep those people safe, keep them safe from themselves, keep them safe from others. We take that very seriously, and I'll talk about that more in a second. Non-motorized trail connectivity, both paved and dirt. The town's Trails and Bikeways Master Plan is really designed around connecting the community. We would love to see all neighborhoods connected to town, and then also ideally connected to each other through trails or bike lanes. Getting more and more people out of their car and using their body to get around creates, it's better for the environment and it's better for your physical and mental health. It's just really this grand vision that we have. And then also providing recreational opportunities for everybody. We don't just build the crazy, difficult mountain bike trails with jumps that I wouldn't even try. We we want to build for everybody. So we have a skills loop for the beginners, and we do have a jump trail for people who like to jump on their mountain bike. We are paying much more attention to building trails that are for adaptive riders, or people who ride with hand cycles. We built a wheelchair-friendly, ADA accessible nature trail a couple of years ago. So we really are aiming to try to bring trails for everybody. And part of doing that means understanding what the community wants. We don't just think that, our board and our staff know what the community wants. So we do take our partnerships very seriously. This is a kind of a list of people we work with, and really try to check in regularly and make sure we're on the right path. And just some specific examples of our advocacy. Of course, last year, the town voted to pass Measure U, which is going to bring in a couple $1 million a year, I think is the amount, for more bike paths for the town. We kind of worked with the town to make sure that did get on the ballot, and then our team spent a lot of volunteer time running that campaign. And then again this year, bike path safety. I don't know if anyone's been out on the Legacy Trail in the last few days, but the town of Truckee and Take Care Tahoe and the Truckee Trails Foundation kind of had a bunch of Zoom calls to talk about, okay, how are we going to spread some good messaging about like proper trail etiquette? And, nobody likes signs. And, you see them once and then you start to ignore them and forget. And so Take Care Tahoe guys, they're so creative. They came up with this idea of stencils. And some of them are pretty straightforward, like, hey, share the trail. And others are a little more humorous. And because they're done with chalk paint, they're going to wear off, but then they're going to bring new ones back. So that's always a little bit fresh, and people are always, I think, going to be looking forward to seeing what's coming next on the trail. And I think it's a brilliant idea and super excited about it. U.S. Forest Master Plan. We are trying to work with Jonathan Cook Fisher at the Truckee Ranger District to come up with an official master plan for dirt trails. Right now, it's sort of like casual proposals that sometimes they agree, sometimes they don't. We want an actual plan. We want to bring the community in, get everyone to weigh in, reach out to all the different user groups, and come up with a plan that we can, know that kind of what our future holds for trail building. Again, working with High Fives and Achieve Tahoe to address the needs of adaptive riders, and then also to really understand what the community wants. We have a new staff member, our Vice President of Marketing and Development, who is going on a listening tour. And basically we have different listening tours for the different user groups. And it's so far been really successful, 20 to 30 people at each one, and just having an open dialogue about what they'd like to see, what they like now, what they don't like now, and what their particular user group would like to see. So if anyone is interested in seeing, what the schedule is, that's on our website. That's it. Thank you.
The stencil program that you've got going on in the Legacy Trail, because as someone who's a hiker, not really a biker, it's stressful. You're always looking, your dog's always looking as far as what there is, because there's a real etiquette problem that's gone on. But I don't go on the Legacy Trail anymore because it's so busy and there's so many people that don't. I'm on the dirt, but you focus so much on mountain biking that us people that actually hike, we have nothing that protects us. These people come bombing through, or they insist that you're a hiker, so you're a third-class citizen. Are you doing anything about that? And I know it's a hard issue, but I'm a big supporter of the Truckee Trails, and I just think there's got to be something you guys could do.
Well, first of all, thank you for your comments, and you are not alone at all. We are working with the town, sort of internally, kind of have some ideas for how to improve safety on the paved paths beyond the stencils. I think education is a huge part of it. We personally also think like it's about time for a speed limit on the trail, and I know that means we have to have people get out and, or officers get out and enforce that, but it just feels like it's time. I feel like use is only going to increase, and we need to find different ways to get people to understand the rules and the etiquette. And as for the dirt trails, totally get that too. It can ruin a hiker's experience to have mountain bikers who aren't considerate. Again, we take that very seriously. We are going to be working with the Forest Service as part of the master planning process to address that. Yeah. Okay. Tony?
Your list mentioned the partnership with the Land Trust. Could you speak at all about Canyon Springs and any trail plans in that area?
Yeah, I'm excited about that because that's where I live. But I just asked them about that a couple weeks ago, and they said that's on hold. Yeah, for at least this year.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Fair enough.
I just want to say, great job.
Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Great job.
Thank you. Like I said, the best job in Truckee. Jan?
Alison, do you have any way of counting the number of users on the different trails so you're able to actually quantify the increase in usage?
Yeah, so I know the town has a counter somewhere. I don't know where it is. And we're going to have ambassadors out doing just stationed rather than they usually roam. They're going to be stationed a couple days this summer. But we also just received a grant for trail counters that we're going to be putting on the dirt trails. And in fact, we could put them on any, use them on town trails as well. We really need that data, really need it. And would be useful for grant writing, it would be useful for planning. I'm thinking I want one that actually tells you what kind of user they are. It doesn't just count like motion, it counts like, okay, this is a bike versus this is a pedestrian, because that will help us figure out usage. Okay.
Just to talk about what you just said, a trail camera, like for hunting or whatever, you could then get a picture of each person that's passing by?
Yeah, or just their feet. Like, people probably don't want their face. Sorry?
What is the equestrian use around here? Do you guys accommodate for that?
So, mostly, it's my understanding, equestrians, occasionally I see them on Sawtooth Trail, but not very often. I actually saw one riding on the 06, believe it or not. And then mostly the Pacific Crest Trail and then Tahoe Donner trails. That's my understanding, is that there's a really nice equestrian facility in Tahoe Donner in the summertime. And if I'm not mistaken, Tahoe Donner has kind of set aside some trails there for equestrian. That, they're kind of separating uses out a little bit more up there. Yeah.
Well, actually, I have one question. Is there a organization, maybe it's Truckee Trails, that has a map of all the trails in the area, so people don't have to go to Strava or All Trails or anything like that? Where is the best place to get a map of all the trails in the Truckee area?
I would say probably just Tahoe Mountain Sports probably has a couple of good ones. I know I have one. I can't remember who made it. You have to buy it. Our website has the trails, the legal trails, but it's not super. I got to admit, not super user friendly, like for downloading, trails onto your phone. Yes, you can find all the trails on our website.
Thank you.
Alison Pedley from the Truckee Trails Foundation. Thank you. All right, up next we have Brian Wright, the Truckee Donner P.U.D. Brian, welcome this morning.
All right, good morning, everyone. First, I want to thank Jessica and the Chamber for inviting us, give us an opportunity here. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about this morning the Truckee Donner P.U.D. strategic plan, our update process we're in the middle of now, and really the kind of the crust of this morning's presentation is to get more public engagement and opportunities to participate in some of our community circles we have planned next month. In September. So for this morning, I'll go as quickly as possible so we can have some questions at the end if there's some time there. But this morning, I'd like to first go over a little bit of the background of the Truckee Donner P.U.D.'s strategic planning process, the current update that we're engaged with our board of directors, and then really at the end here, the opportunity for community engagement and your participation. There's a lot of great leadership and access to the community here in this room, and so I'll be leaning out to you for a little bit of help to get some more participation there. A little bit of background, in 2020 and in 2021, the district took on the process of developing a strategic plan. And really, we kind of partitioned it into three philosophies here combined together. We took the traditional, and these are the things that the P.U.D. has done exceptionally well for some time now. And that's providing service with an emphasis on safety, reliability, and cost. And it was kind of part of our three-legged stool that we talked about with rates, renewable, and reliability. And so there on the left of the screen is kind of the traditional things that we believe we've done well and need to continue doing well. We took an innovative approach, making sure that we're keeping in mind and being open to new technologies, new processes, so that we're continuing to build the level of service we offer, but also make sure that we're always keeping reliability and safety at heart. And the third was visionary. What are we missing? What other components within the quality of life here in the community of Truckee can we be a part of? We're we're one of the, we like to consider ourselves one of the economic engines of the community, making sure that there's a viable business sector, your residential component has reliable service, and that we're also environmentally sound and responsible. And so what are we missing as a local public agency that we could do better? So the process we took on in 2020 and really the adoption of the strategic plan in 2021 was a pretty extensive process. We engaged in a really productive, and we had a really high participation level in our community survey. It provided us a lot of information and with this community, what they have priorities on, what they look for, the Truckee Donner P.U.D., what services they want us to provide, and what was really important to them for their local public utility. We established some GM task force, and this was really, some of you all might have participated in that, where we had the community set up committees to really understand what the goals moving forward were for the strategic plan. We also engaged in some benchmarking, and this is where we reached out to our industry partners, our nonprofits, other utilities in Northern California, and asked them what works well, what were some of the lessons learned, and what we could do better moving forward. Through the benchmarking process, we identified best practices for some of the key initiatives, and these were initiatives identified by our board of directors: the undergrounding of overhead power lines, high-speed community broadband, 100% clean renewable energy, and local clean power generation. And these were on top of our other plans, like our capital improvement plans, our financial master plans. These were key initiatives that our board, through the community engagement, identified for staff to focus on over the next 4 to 5 years. And through the benchmarking process, it really provided valuable insight what other agencies across Northern California and the Western region had experienced and what worked well for them. We also facilitated community workshops. We had 6 community chat rooms via Zoom. So if you can recall, 2020 was the pandemic. We went into the end of 2020 and early 2021. We really had to make a pivot. We wanted to have workshops like we're part of this morning and that we plan in September, but we had to quickly change our approach, and we went through a Zoom environment. Kind of kudos to our IT team and our engineering staff to set up quickly, and I think all of you probably experienced this in your own work or personal experiences, we had to quickly come up with a plan to engage through Zoom. And it really was a successful and valuable process because it was very intimate one-on-one discussions with different members of our community. We broke those out into subdivisions and neighborhoods, and it really gave us insight into what each subdivision or kind of the different communities within our community really needed. And that was an important process for. I don't know that the Truckee or P.U.D had done that in the past, but it was really valuable for us to, one, hear the community, and more importantly, follow up and provide feedback later on or where we were with each of these processes. This is just an example through the community survey and those Zoom chat rooms. We collected a lot of data and really understood what our community, how they prioritized some of the initiatives and what was important to them moving forward. And so we took this data for the purposes of our planning over the last couple of years. And you can see on the left there the two initiatives that were really important, and the feedback was the undergrounding of overhead utilities and the district's or the P.U.D.'s opportunity to leverage our existing resources to partner with other agencies in providing high-speed broadband across the community. We'll get to that in a minute. So we're in the process of an update to the plan, and you might think, why? It's only been 3 years, 2.5 years. Well, it's important to understand that there's a lot of things changing very quickly, and you're all experiencing it either through your own agencies or in your personal life. And so a mid-cycle check-in was really important to us to make sure we're not missing the mark on something. And like I said, things are evolving quickly. Our customer needs are evolving. We saw that as we went into COVID and after COVID, things have changed, and what people need from their utility are changing quite rapidly. There's also a lot of market volatility, and that's both economically and in supply chain scenarios. And I think a lot of people are experiencing that as well. And so we need to be nimble and adaptable to the changes there and come up sometimes with creative solutions that we hadn't had to address in the past. But in the regulatory landscape, a lot of people, they don't realize this, but the regulatory landscape for both water and power in California and the Western region are changing very rapidly. And so the goalposts, the targets that we're all going after move quite frequently. And so it's important that we be innovative and visionary, but also not get out in front of ourselves, that we get, outrun the regulations or outrun our goals. We need to make sure that we're adaptable there and nimble. A couple of other things we're currently in the process with at the same time is our budget. We're in a 2-year budget cycle, but we're always planning in that 5 to 10 year financial master plan. So right now we have an electric and water utility cost of service analysis, integrated resource plan is really setting the roadmap for us as a public utility on our energy procurement policies moving forward. Capital improvement plans we're all familiar with, but are extremely important, and a financial master plan. And so how this all dovetails together with the strategic plan, reaching out to the community and understanding what the needs are, the visionary part of it, what we can do better, but incorporating those into our various plans that as a package serve as a roadmap and a compass for this utility. And it's really important, and we'll get more to this at the end here, that the community be a part of that. We're a public agency. So what's happening right now? This is a little bit of a busy graphic, but I wanted to illustrate kind of the process that we're going through. On the far left of the screen were the existing initiatives, the 4 strategic initiatives that our board identified. And really, enabling community-wide broadband was an exercise in leveraging our existing fiber infrastructure on how we could facilitate in some form or fashion that the community has more reliable high-speed internet. Undergrounding overhead utilities, if you can recall, in 2020 and 21, there was, several years of very catastrophic fires across California and the Western region. And so everybody's mindset was really, what's causing these fires? A lot of them, or several of them, were caused by overhead utilities. And so what does the P.U.D need to do here locally to make sure this community is safe? 100% renewable energy. These were really driven by both state of California and federal initiatives to reduce carbon footprint across all of our operating processes, but renewable energy was really a key tagline or a key word that everyone was focused on. And then local clean generation. I think it's important in terms of reducing carbon footprint and incorporating that in some of our other fuels management. We're participating with the town on the local biomass opportunity. If that's something that works out, we're also looking for other opportunities behind the meter in terms of solar, rooftop solar, things of that nature. But it was really important that we take on this local clean generation with the right mindset. Is it really something that focused on resiliency and reliability, or more about carbon reduction? And so we've had a lot of things we've learned over the last couple of years, both through the regulatory process, supply chain process, and our own strategic plan, and kind of that visionary component. And so a couple of the strategic initiatives have evolved through this update process. Community broadband, I'm happy to say, is still one of the initiatives, but it's evolving. And what that means is we're learning new things. We conducted a very exhaustive and detailed community survey on local broadband services. What we identified is that the community's not necessarily underserved, but unsatisfied. And so that's one of the things we need to make sure that we adapt our initiative to try to find opportunities to work with partners to ensure that everyone has access to high-speed, reliable internet. The undergrounding of overhead utilities has evolved to service reliability and safety. It doesn't mean that undergrounding is no longer an option, but now it is incorporated with other options. What we've learned is there's other ways, in addition to undergrounding, that we can accomplish some of the same goals within that initiative. Things like the vegetation management. We're working with the fire districts, the town, Measure T bill that everyone adopted a few years back. There's opportunities to do fuel reduction and vegetation management to ensure there's some more safely managed corridors through those overhead pathways. There's also new technologies in terms of running our circuits with safety measures in place, so that kind of the smart technology for the grid allows us to make sure that some of these faults or fault occurrences that may have sparked fires in the past no longer will in the future. And so there's, with some more cost efficiency, an opportunity to continue to build safety and reliability that's not necessarily undergrounding. And then where we find opportunities, we take on undergrounding as a project, but also from a visionary standpoint, start thinking outside the box compared to what we've done in the past. Rather than using wood poles, we're evaluating and actually purchase ductile iron poles or steel poles where it makes more sense. Those poles no longer are flammable, or they're more resilient to tree falls or other snow load issues. And so we're trying to make sure we expand these initiatives to really be broader to meet the same goals, but give us more opportunities for success there. Another really good example is the evaluation of 100% clean renewable energy and local clean generation. We took those two initiatives with our board of directors and tried to evaluate what's the long-term goal for both of these initiatives. The long-term goal here, everyone I think would agree, is reduction of greenhouse gas and the carbon footprint. That both of these initiatives are addressing climate resiliency or climate mitigation. And so rather than make these very specific to certain projects, broaden these out to what the actual goal is for the initiative. And so through that evaluation process, we identified net carbon reduction as the initiative. It includes both of the original two initiatives, but it broadens it to other things that we can be successful with. Energy efficiency programs, carbon sequestration opportunities, and expand beyond just the procurement of energy, but the behavior and use of energy. Incorporating new programs like behind the meter programs. A lot of what has an impact on our carbon footprint is not just where the energy is coming from, but how our customers use it. And so there's a lot of opportunities that the district can be involved in that we haven't necessarily been involved in the past. And technology is changing rapidly. We're seeing a lot of EVs come into the community. Tesla, Rivian have put in significant charging station infrastructure. So through, I mentioned earlier, the integrated resource plan, how do we prepare for that in the future to make sure the community has the energy they need, it's the right generation profile, clean energy, and it's available when you need it, whether it's in the winter through the harsh storms or the summer. We've added a fourth one, local watershed stewardship. This is something I'm quite passionate with. I come from the water side of the industry before I was the general manager, but we're a groundwater agency. We've done a great job of managing our resource under the ground that you all can't see. But how do we participate more long-term vision with watershed stewardship? What's our role there? And you've heard in the town general plan update a desire for broadening research and science and the surface water interactions of groundwater. I think the district has an important role to play in that. And so going beyond just our groundwater management, the Martis Valley Groundwater Basin, but expanding to watershed stewardship and what our role is there. So we revisited initiatives. They're proposed, as I just mentioned, the new four new initiatives. And so I'll get to where I really want to have the discussion. And this is where in September, we're scheduling several workshops, community workshops, broken out again into the subdivisions within the community. Gives an opportunity for the public to participate in our process and really looking for feedback and prioritization from the community. We did this very successfully through Zoom a couple of years ago. Thank God that COVID is no longer an influence on this, that we can actually meet in person and really have conversations with the community one-on-one. So I'm really looking for, there's a lot of influencers in this room, a lot of leadership in this room, where we could have all of you reach out to the people you know that really want to participate in setting the future of the P.U.D. through these community workshop process. And our team has put together the concept of community circles, and you see the image here of folks around the campfire, and it kind of goes back to our kind of cultural roots of getting together as a community, circling the wagons, and really having conversations on what's best for us moving forward, and making sure, I see a lot of familiar faces here in the room, and we always have great conversations, but getting the folks who don't normally come to our council meetings, to our board meetings, to these types of engagements, and providing an opportunity out in their neighborhoods for them to sit down with us and have deeper conversations on what their goals and priorities are. So there's a lot of dates here, but we've broken these opportunities out into the Donner Lake Armstrong, Sierra Meadows Brockway, Prosser Heights, Olympic Heights, Grace Crossing, Old Greenwood, Glenshire, Tahoe Donner, and then the Downtown Gateway, Deerfield and Meadows. There's some dates here. We have an opportunity, if you're interested in participating, touch base with Stephen and Alex before you leave this morning to sign in for participation. We're really looking for your help in spreading the word. We have some media kits that we'll also provide if you sign up and request them through your nonprofits or other community organizations you work with, spreading the word that people have an opportunity to meet with us and let us know their priorities moving forward. Also, it's important, we'll have Spanish translation in each of these meetings so that all of our community can be included in the discussion. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have right now. Tony.
Hey, Brian, your answer is probably going to be come to the workshop, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. Some of us that live in the town and the district are served by Liberty Energy for power. Some Canadian corporation is not a community-based utility. Any plans to revisit expanding your electrical service to incorporate your entire district or the town? Or
I second that suggestion.
Talking to Meadows residents. I appreciate the question, Tony, and thank you for putting me on the spot also. That's a great discussion. We just met with Nevada LAFCO to talk about, I think there's an opportunity for the kind of reevaluating some of the service territory maps, sphere of influence maps. It's important, we look to Liberty Energy as a partner here locally, and part of this process is making sure we have reliable and resilient power. We're also engaged with them in terms of our IRP. I don't have an answer this morning on the opportunities. I know that it comes up quite frequently with particularly the Glenshire community being split between two service providers. But we are in discussions with LAFCO on how we serve this community the best. So that's the answer I have right now. And we're also engaged with them with the broadband discussion.
Thanks, that's a good answer.
We're working on it.
Two-part question. One is, can you tell us what the status is of the Red Mesa project in terms of providing power to the town? And then, kind of related to that, is the big impediment to local clean energy in terms of a solar farm, the difference in the cost of locally generated power and imported power?
Yeah, thanks, Jan. The first one's much more of a softball question for me than the second one. Red Mesa is online. It's commercially available energy that we are procuring. I think it's about 13% of our portfolio now, and really we're excited about it. It's solar energy that helps build our RPS, the renewable portfolio that we have. Should put us next year in over that 70% margin, but it's a successful project at this point, and it's in full generation mode, so we're happy about that. We're probably going to participate in a ribbon cutting ceremony later on this summer, but we're really happy that thing's online. In terms of solar fields or local generation, one of the challenges we're evaluating, and this is something that is going to be incorporated in our integrated resource plan in terms of opportunities for local generation. There's two challenges. One, land, and making sure you have opportunity to do it. And two, solar really needs to be coupled with storage in order for it to be a truly viable, reliable generation source. And there's all kinds of formats of storage. It could be grid scale storage at the facility or something at our customers' homes. Whatever that looks like, there needs to be a plan, a long-term plan for storage there. And so through the workshops, the community circles, and through this strategic plan update process, we'd really like to have that discussion with the community and what they prioritize there. Would they rather see something behind the meter or something that is more community-based? In the back.
So I'm curious, I've heard about the state regulation on solar, but I don't know a whole lot about it, that it kind of limits private solar generators, individuals, to sell back their solar. Maybe you can clarify that, but I'm also curious as to what impact that's been having on the desire or the ability of individuals to go solar.
Yeah, great question. So early on in the process to essentially spur the technology and the market, California established what they referred to as a net metering program, kind of their version 1. And that was to help provide opportunities for folks to put solar on the roof, and a net metering program where they sold excess generation back to the grid. And there were specific regulatory components on what each of the utilities had to include in that buyback program. Well, those programs have evolved. We're now, I think, they're establishing net metering 3. So what we're doing as the Truckee Downer P.U.D., part of our evaluation process through the IRP is to determine what our successor program is for net metering. And to ensure that, one, we provide an opportunity for folks who want to have solar to generate and sell back to the grid, but it has an equity component. And so it's not being subsidized by those who don't have solar. It's a fair market value of that energy as opposed to a subsidized and preset rate. And it's a long discussion that I'd be happy to have at one of the community circles or stop by our office. But our approach to this is not to interfere with the opportunity for rooftop solar or other behind the meter generation, but to make sure there's an equity component and that it's a fair market value that we're purchasing that energy back.
Thanks, Ryan.
Next up, we have Jess Carr, Chamber Board Member and Director of the SBDC at the Sierra Business Council. Jess, come on up.
Okay. A little bit shorter than Brian. Thank you. So Raven, you really got me started on what is the alphabet soup of my position and organization. So I am Jessica Carr. I'm the director of the Sierra Small Business Development Center at Sierra Business Council, which is a program funded primarily by the SBA, the Small Business Administration. So if you get the S and the B right, you're like halfway there on any of those three acronyms. So the Sierra Small Business Development Center, hosted by Sierra Business Council right across the hall. It is a program. So the Sierra Business Council is a nonprofit, a community-based nonprofit. We're a triple bottom line organization. So our mission is to catalyze innovative approaches and solutions to increase community vitality across the Sierra Nevada. This is our full mission behind us. We do government affairs work, we do economic empowerment work, and we do climate and energy work. We essentially have three pillars. So I'm in the economic empowerment bucket or pillar of SBC with the Small Business Development Center. So now I'm going for the acronyms. If you lose them, that's okay. Our logos are on the bottom. So the Small Business Development Center has a 7-county territory, including Nevada and Placer, El Dorado, and then we go all the way up to the Oregon border on the eastern side, Modoc, Lassen, Plumas, and Sierra. And we serve all types of industries with free business counseling. That is the primary activity of our program. So free technical assistance, business advising, and workshops. We have experts in all areas of business need, except for cannabis. We're a federally funded program, so that's a little subset, not able to consult there. Otherwise, we have advisors who can help with access to capital, marketing, sales, et cetera. As I mentioned before, we are primarily funded by the Small Business Administration, as in our program, not Sierra Business Council, just the Small Business Development Center. We also receive funding from the state of California. The Small Business Development Center was created decades ago, Jimmy Carter administration, right? So they cover all of the whole entire country. And although we are not technically the Small Business Administration, many people get us confused. And that's why I'm here today, because I'm going to skip through this. This is SBDC stuff. Because the SBA, the Small Business Administration, declared a disaster starting February 21st, 2023, for severe winter storms, flooding, landslides for a lot of counties in California. Nevada County was not included on that disaster declaration until June 30th. So on June 30th, Nevada County got added. And that is actually thanks to your county and city governments for advocating for you that there was enough damage in your county to add you to the federal disaster declaration. So, process takes a while, but we're in now. So Nevada County is added as a primary county on the disaster declaration, which means that Nevada County businesses and homeowners, primary homeowners, not secondary homeowners, have access to loans, low interest loans for physical damage and economic injury that they may have incurred. Economic injury is just for businesses, not for residents, that they may have incurred due to the winter storm. So the winter storm period is long. It's February 21st, 2023 to July 10th, in case something happened to you in June. That would cover it. Some of those thunderstorms were pretty rough. So that is Nevada County. Placer County was added as a contiguous county, which means they are only eligible for economic injury disaster loans. I'm sure people probably remember from COVID when EIDL, that's the EIDL, EIDLs became part of the American lexicon. So they are a low interest loan designed to help businesses recover from economic injury that they may have incurred during the winter. I know I've talked to a lot of people about this past winter, and people are some people are under the impression that we are so busy, and it's true. Truckee is so busy. We have tons of tourism, and we are a busy community. But many restaurants and retail, brick and mortar facilities, places that do cater to tourism, they were severely impacted by the timing of a lot of the storms from the past winter. So even though the snow was amazing and the skiing was great, some of that snow came in at times when restaurants or retail operations are dependent on a huge, activity. A lot of activity. And they couldn't open, or people couldn't get to them. People were stuck shoveling. We all know. We remember what this winter was like. So it actually was a very impacted time. And then especially Nevada County obviously has Western County. Western County not at all prepared for the amount of snow that they received. There were a lot of physical damage situations down there as well. So the property damage, physical damage filing deadline is July 20th, 2 days from now. So if you did incur any physical damage, both home or business, you are eligible to apply, but you have to initiate your application before Thursday. And actually, the representatives from FEMA are here at Alder Creek Middle School until July 22nd. They would, if the deadline were to get extended, it's already been extended a few times, so it doesn't feel like it's going to get extended, but it might. If the deadline were to get extended, then they would linger. So they're here for the few days after the deadline so that if you have issues with your applications, you can go to them. If you are considering applying, I do recommend taking advantage of their physical presence in our community. It's very helpful to talk to them face to face. If you call the number, it's a call center, so it's a little more challenging. So they're at Alder Creek Middle School. I think the hours are 9 to 7 at the middle school. To help you apply. So these are the types of loans that are available: business, physical disaster, economic injury disaster loans, and home disaster loans. Also for physical damage. There's a lot of words on here, but I'm going to skip through. The loans are low interest. So these are the interest rates for the loans available. You can see that they are lower than market rate interest rates. If you have the SBA and FEMA designate no credit available elsewhere and credit available elsewhere. Essentially, if you are a business that's able to access recovery funds from a different source, non-government source, they will encourage you to do that before coming to them, but you're still eligible, you just have a higher interest rate. So that's why there's 2 categories here. And these are the loan terms. I think I just kind of want to get to questions. The loan terms are it's all fairly standard. The limit is $2 million. It could be a big loan, but it's a good opportunity for low interest financing if you need it. And you can also use some of the funds to mitigate for future disasters. So if you do need to harden your home for future snow or severe weather, that is an option with some of these funds. That's all I got. My colleague Leslie Williams is here. Do you want to add? Thank you. Yeah.
So our advice is apply, and you can decide if you want to take it or not. And if you take it, you can pay it back. There's no negative ramification.
For the economic injury disaster loan, the deadline's not until January 2024, January 3rd. So you have some time, mostly because you have to kind of wrap your head around what your actual economic injury was before you can apply. You have to demonstrate that. So that deadline is much longer. Nevada County business is also eligible for that. It's just the physical damage deadline that is 2 days from now. Yeah, so the other main message is that the Small Business Development Center, as a program of the Small Business Administration, we provide business advising in disaster recovery. Fortunately, our advisors are experts in this field. They've helped businesses through the Caldor fire, the Dixie fire, many other fire disasters, as well as, of course, COVID, that disaster. The products from the SBA are the same for all of these disaster declarations. So we do have folks who are very well versed in this process and helping you get through the application period. So we're happy to help at no cost. Thank you. And
if I could just add something,
Yeah.
The local assistance center that Jess was just talking about has other resources. So there's folks from the insurance boards in California that can help you with your insurance filings. And so there's a lot of other things that's not just FEMA and SBA. So been kind of low utilization rates. So just encourage the community to come and talk to people. They're available, from 9 to 7 at Alder Creek.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Jess. All right, from Jess to Jessica Penman, Truckee Chamber CEO.
I was Jess before I moved here, but there was already a Jess, so. All right, I will be quick because I know we're running out of time and everyone wants to get to the raffle, but I wanted to just give an update Door prize, sorry. Oh, I'm the one that always says it too. So I wanted to give a quick update from the Truckee Chamber. So I have been here for a little over 10 months now, which I can't believe that it has been that long. I don't know if the winter made it seem shorter or longer. But as you might recall, one of the first things that we did when I got here was we passed a strategic plan that had our 3 new pillars. So advocate for business, bolster economic prosperity, thanks to Raven, and cultivate community connection. And we have a couple opportunities for our members to get involved in those first 2 pillars. So I wanted to go over those today. And then also give a brief update on some of the things that we're looking to do at the Welcome Center downtown. I think a lot of people know that that's kind of a hot topic with the Welcome Center and some things happening there. So I wanted to give a quick update on that as well. So first, we are creating 2 committees. So one around economic and workforce development, and then also one around advocacy. So the first is going to be our economic and workforce development committee. Amber Burke with the school district is going to be a chair of that committee for us. She's also a new board member, which she didn't mention for the Truckee Chamber. So we're really excited to be able to launch into looking at our economic vitality and workforce development in our community and really play an active role in that. So the Economic and Workforce Development Committee of the Truckee Chamber of Commerce is a dedicated group focused on promoting economic vitality and enhancing the local workforce within the community. This committee works collaboratively with businesses, government entities, educational institutions, community organizations to bolster economic prosperity and ensure a thriving workforce. I'm not going to read that second paragraph because that's a lot of words. A couple things that we're going to take on in the beginning with this Economic and Workforce Development Committee. We'll probably switch kind of into 2 subcommittees, one focusing on the economic vitality and one on workforce development. The first thing is a business landscape study. So as most everyone knows, we have a contract with the town of Truckee, which was renewed for 3 more years at the end of June. And one of the big things that we talked about when we were creating that contract is understanding who our business community really is. As we know, we don't have a business license program in Truckee, and we are not saying we're going to have one of those at the moment. But we really want to understand who is doing business here, both physically and remotely in our community. So we're going to undertake this business landscape study to understand better who is working and what their needs truly are. And then also a business success program. So working with the town, Sierra Business Council, Visit Truckee Tahoe, other entities, really making sure that when a business wants to come into our community, they know how to do that. They can be successful if they're, running into different problems, that there's a one-stop shop for people to go. So those are 2 early things that the Economic Development Committee will be working on. And then also, of course, workforce development. So a big passion of mine is career exploration for young children. So this is something that we're going to be tackling with the school district, is how are we getting to our students early so they understand all of the different career opportunities that exist within our community and trying to keep that local workforce here when they graduate from high school. We're also working with Sierra College to see how we can better utilize them as a resource within our community. It's a great community asset that we have here. I don't know how many people were here when we had our community report card, but the actual physical students going to that school right now is down about 50% from before COVID. So how do we help them bring those numbers back up? Our next committee is going to be a Government Action Committee, or a GAC, which I hate that, so we're not going to use that. We went through kind of different conversations if we wanted to do a political action committee and actually form a PAC or keep it as a Government Action Committee, and we've decided to go with Government Action Committee. So the Government Action Committee of the Truckee Chamber of Commerce is a proactive and influential group dedicated to advocating for the interests of the local business community. The committee will collaborate with elected officials, government agencies, and community stakeholders to shape public policies and regulations that support the growth and prosperity of Truckee businesses. By monitoring local and regional legislation, developing positions, and engaging in effective advocacy, the Government Action Committee works to create a favorable business climate, promote economic development, and foster responsible governance. So the Truckee Chamber has never really waded into the advocacy world, and we're ready to do that, and this is how we're going to do it. So the first 2 kind of things that our Government Action Committee is going to take on will be to create a local and county policy platform that the Truckee Chamber will use when we have different asks come to us to support or not support initiatives. We, at this point, are not going to wade into state Issues to start with. We're going to start local and regional and then work our way up. And then we're going to set a candidate platform for 2024. So we are not going to endorse candidates. I feel like we are much too small of a community for us to do that. But we will create a platform that will show to candidates that are running at a regional and local level that is pro-business, pro-economic development, and ask them to support that way. And then visitor and transportation services. So we run the Welcome Center down in downtown Truckee at the depot. We are looking to use fiscal 24 as a visioning time for that Welcome Center. What can we do to make it as successful as possible? Currently, we see over 150 to 200,000 people through that building a year. So it's a really important touch point for our community. How are we making sure that we're serving our visitors and our businesses through that space? And then during fiscal 25 and 26, we're actually looking to do a remodel and really kind of revamp the Welcome Center. So if you have ideas about the Welcome Center, please let myself or Ruth know. We're going to be creating some kind of visioning committee around that as well, and working with our other tourism partners, VTT and TDMA. I spoke really fast and I recognize that. So if you have any questions, we have a few seconds. I can take questions. Also, I encourage you to look in your email inboxes in a little bit. We're sending out our announcement for our annual awards ceremony, which will be on September 22nd. So nominations for our awards are open as of today. So any questions? Or I can answer questions afterwards also if we want to get to the door prize. Okay.
Alrighty, go around stump speeches in the back.
Always in the back, no. But I'm always here, and this will be the last Good Morning Tuesday that I will talk about the Brewfest because it's happening August 5th, and that's coming up in 2 weeks. If you want to buy tickets, there's a QR code on the back here. If you don't want to buy tickets, you can buy them at the door, and they're $50 there, they're $45 today, and just show up, all of you. If you want to have a poster and post at your business, by all means, please take one on your way out and put it up where people can see it. That would be fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Sarah Green, California Trails Conference Foundation, and the California Trails and Greenways. Many of you may not know what that is, but I'm very excited to say that it is coming to Palisades next year. So California Trails and Greenways is a statewide, it's the only statewide trails trading in California. And we rotate throughout the state, where we work in partnership with California State Parks. And it's been 10 years since we've been in the Tahoe area. It was Grand Lebacan back in 2013, and so next year, I guess it's been 11 years, 2024 will be at Palisades in late April. So anyone interested in being a part of that, I'll probably be reaching out to a lot of you anyway, so, but let me know. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, no further stump speeches. We will do the door prize. We're going to start with a coffee mug with a return ticket to Good Morning Truckee. That will go to 869525. 86. All right, in the back. Chris was going to come back anyways, but now he has a return ticket, so we'll see him again. All right. Base camp for a big life, big truck hat. That will go to 869512. 869 Ernie. All right. Yeah, you better. The Powerball's up there. You know, you could. Careful, Jim Porter will take that from you. All right, $10 Wild Cherries gift card. That'll go to 869511. Oh man, this table. All right, Kathleen. And the final door prize this morning is a $15 gift card for 60 area businesses. That will go to 869-530. 869-530. Brett, all right. And that is all we have for this morning. So good morning, Truckee. Thanks for being here, and we will see you next month. Enjoy your day.
Thanks, Raven.